So you're a new agent or maybe a seasoned agent just going with a new marketing organization, and you go to that marketing organization and say, you have this fabulous company, this fabulous company, this fabulous company, this fabulous company, and you know that you have client meetings coming up. So what does the agent typically do? Hey, I need appointed with this carrier, 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 this carrier. The IMO puts together all the appointment stuff, sends it off usually electronically to the insurance company. What does the insurance company do with that paperwork? Effectively nothing, right? Nor should they do anything with it. Let me back up and explain what I just explained there. First of all, don't get overly infatuated as an independent financial professional selling fixed products. If we're talking securities, what I'm talking about here doesn't apply. But with annuities and life insurance in almost every state in the country, except for Pennsylvania, except for Montana, depending on the company's interpretation, almost every state in the country, except for these two, are not pre-appointment states. What do I mean by that? I mean, don't get overly infatuated with all these appointments, right? Because in many states, you can submit your appointment paperwork simultaneously. At the same time, simultaneously at the same time. That's kind of redundant, isn't it? Simultaneously, you can submit your appointment paperwork and your annuity application or life application to the carrier, right? You don't have to be appointed in advance. Yes, I know that's breaking news. So don't get infatuated with getting all these carriers at the outset, because even if for whatever reason you wanted to get appointed in advance with those carriers, what will the carriers do when they get that appointment paperwork? Well, let's step back. About 10, 15 years ago or so, carriers started to look at the agents that got appointed with them. And they said, okay, we're appointing 10,000 agents a year, right? Appointing 10,000 agents per year. And when an agent gets appointed with us, we have to pay the states a certain appointment fee for our agents to get appointed with them. So those 10,000 agents times however many dollars it is, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. And then the carrier said, well, but how much business do we ultimately get from these agents? What percentage of these agents just don't produce even after we paid for them to get appointed? And it was a huge number, right? So carrier said, let's just not appoint them. So when we get the paperwork, let's just not appoint them, because what we can do, the carriers, we can put them in a pre-appointment status, in a pre-appointment queue, so that when we get in that agent's first piece of business, then and only then do we have to pay the state, then and only then do we appoint them. Let's do that as carriers, and let's call it just-in-time contracting. And that's what carriers do today, folks. So even if you were to get overly infatuated with having all these carriers appointments, which I would suggest not doing, it's a pain for CG Financial Group, it's a pain for you. But even if you were to do that, the carriers still generally are not going to appoint you ahead of time because of the just-in-time contracting.